look. Hang on, is there anything else? Is anything on this page?
Anduin versus.
No, doesn't appear to be anything else. We sure that we're not missing? Right, okay.
Valera.
Guess I'll make a video on that.
Light makes right.
So anyway, with that aside, the CPU being described here is most likely the Ryzen 7 9800X3D, although we don't know for sure that's what it will be called. It could be the 9700X3D or something else. AMD hasn't confirmed the name today, but what we've heard from various sources over the last few months is that the 9800X3D type product is expected to launch in early November, with higher core count models a couple of months later, potentially early 2025. So this announcement fits with our expectations of when the 9800X3D should arrive. There's no point discussing potential specifications because we just don't know at this point. AMD aren't providing any pricing information either, and I expect we will get all of this on the release date to coincide with reviews. One of the trends that we've noticed over the last few months is the Ryzen 7 7800X3D getting more expensive and harder to find. Pricing and availability was pretty stable at around $360 to $370 US until the end of August, and since then it's slowly gotten more expensive, and at many retailers you just can't buy it anymore. In our opinion, this is a calculated move from AMD to discontinue the 7800X3D and make room in the market for the 9800X3D. The last thing AMD wants is the 7800X3D competing against the newer model, potentially offering better value and leading to negative reviews for the Zen 5 model. If you just can't buy the old model at all, the choice of which to purchase is easier. This leads us to believe that AMD will price the 9800X3D at a similar level to the 7800X3D, instead of going for a value play, but again, this is not confirmed at this stage. And if it turns out to retain its crown as the fastest gaming processor, debuting at a cheaper price was never very likely. So why have AMD gone with this announcement strategy? I think it's for two reasons: to steal Intel's thunder and to avoid the issues they faced with the first wave of Zen 5 CPUs. Ahead of the Intel Arrow Lake desktop launch and reviews later this week, AMD wants you to know that a successor to their best gaming CPU is coming shortly. They want to sow some doubt in your minds when looking at Arrow Lake performance as to whether it makes sense to buy an Intel CPU or wait for what AMD has up their sleeves just a couple of weeks later. They don't want people jumping on the Arrow Lake train straight away. They want people to know there will be something else shortly and to start building up that X3D hype. It totally makes sense to wait just 2 weeks to see what the 9800X3D will bring if you're interested in the best gaming performance. And AMD wants to create this doubt and let people know that new CPUs are coming while releasing as little information as possible to avoid the mistakes of Zen 5's launch. For this to work, I guess they don't really need to tell people what the specs are, how it's priced, or how it performs. They just need you to know when it's coming so you can wait and see what it's like. A bit frustrating for people that want the most information, but it is what it is. And from my perspective, I would prefer AMD not to release any information if that information is going to be misleading, as it was for the Zen 5 announcement that exaggerated the gains for the new Ryzen 9000 series and what it would provide, especially for gamers. It's pretty tricky to market a processor that may not provide a notable performance improvement, which is why companies then tend to cherry pick information and attempt to show it in the best light possible. If that's going to create a false impression of what the part is capable of, best not to say anything and let the reviews do the talking. So in some ways, I'm pleased AMD has been going with a different tactic for this launch. On the other hand, if Zen 5 X3D was significantly more powerful, I would expect that AMD would want to tell everyone about this before their main competitor's next-gen CPU launch. Based on everything we've seen so far and how AMD has decided to tease this CPU, I would be surprised if the performance uplift was different to what we saw from regular Zen 5 versus Zen 4 CPUs, where gaming performance is just a